How do you get over the fear of visibility and build a strong, authentic, and irresistible personal brand? How do you become a confident and outstanding public speaker who captures attention from the stage, whether that is a virtual speaking gig or actually standing in front of an audience? How do you achieve the celebrity, influencer, and authority status in your industry? How do you become more discoverable on social media? How do you upgrade your message to attract premium clients and leverage digital media to scale and grow your business, influence, and impact worldwide? Hello, welcome back. I am Joyan Chan, your host for the upcoming and first ever Confidence and Visibility Summit 2023, a 3-day summit taking place between 22nd to 24th February, lined up with some of the most successful, influential, and powerful voices in the industry. I wanted to host this summit because I realized that most coaches, online business owners, service providers, and entrepreneurs needed real help with building their confidence, visibility, and personal branding in the new virtual economy today. I have been blessed to be helping female entrepreneurs for almost 3 years full-time, so I reached out to some of my friends and asked them to teach alongside me at the summit. You will be learning from the best in the industry, world-class speakers and successful entrepreneurs, and learn how they managed to build a 7-figure business from the ground up, generated billions in revenue, launched hundreds of products, created a top 5% podcast with more than 1 million downloads each month, and scale their brands globally. So, if you're a coach, consultant, service provider, online entrepreneur, business owners, aspiring speaker, upcoming author, or you want to create your own podcast, courses, or YouTube, or you want to monetize your content, listen. You don't want to miss this, and it is free. So hop over to www.joyanchan.com/summit to get your free tickets today, right now, before it fills. Yes, we only have limited tickets, so you want to act fast. And invite all your friends and business besties. We all could use a little accountability, aren't we? Again, that is www.joyanchan.com/summit. And you can also find a link in the show note below. I am telling you guys, this is going to be epic, and I can't wait to see you at the summit live.
For everyone who's listening to this, say yes to you. Stop being other people's performing monkey. If you are serving somebody else's agenda, you will be left empty and sad and miserable. Meeting somebody else's agenda and being other people's performing monkey is not the answer to inner peace and happiness. It is not.
This episode is sponsored by Get the Law of Attraction. If you have been listening to this podcast, you will know that I am a big believer of the universe and the law of attraction. Get the Law of Attraction is a spiritual and inspirational company that gives you something really good like chocolate chip cookies to feed your soul and your mind every single day. They provide daily Instagram posts and reels on the universe, gratitude, spirituality for your headache life. They also have an educational course on the Law of Attraction and Gratitude Journal, and their links are in the show note below. Go to their website and use promo code Joyan, Joyan, when you sign up to get $25 off. Our special guest today is someone with a passion to flood the earth with love and teach people about proactive health in all aspects. She has 15 years of experience and education creating a holistic picture of health and wellness. Her background is in skin therapy, clinical hypnotherapy, and energy healing. She currently has a practice as a personal expansion specialist, supporting clients own their power and live their life purpose. She has developed her own healing program, and she is also a best-selling published author. And she's here today to empower you to create a harmonious relationship with your mind and your body. So guys, help me in welcoming the love warrior, Harmony Woodington. Hi, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's my pleasure to have you here and your little bird over here, Lovebird.
And my little buddy Rukia.
Hi, say hi to Rukia. So I know you have an incredible life story while I was doing my research and reading about you. So tell us about your story. What led you down the path of healing and coaching and becoming the woman you are today?
Thank you for the question. I definitely think that really anybody who ends up doing the work that I do isn't somebody who lives a privileged life with no challenges whatsoever and just wakes up one day and says, I can see the people who are hurting and struggling. I want to help them. I think we all have our own struggles that create that awareness that makes us want to help others because we understand the pain. We understand the trials and tribulations. We understand the struggle. So my personal challenges, refining fires, what I believe very much so that I chose to walk into to create awareness was, first of all, being born to a father who was raised in Southern Wales. And I don't know if any of you guys know, but post Second World War, Southern Wales was a very difficult place to be. It was bombed quite a bit. And so a lot of the buildings were actually destroyed and they had to rebuild. So if you can imagine what it's like to grow up in a place where the buildings have all been destroyed and you're trying to reestablish a country again after, a massive war that rocked the whole planet. And a lot of the young men who served in that war and came back were suffering with severe PTSD and didn't have the support that they needed to deal with their emotions. The understanding and the label PTSD didn't exist back then. And so these men were coming home and having children and raising families, and they were severely incapacitated as a result of the trauma they experienced. So my dad and his other 5 siblings all grew up in a severe hangover from a massive world war. And it really created serious mental health issues within all of the 6 children, including my father. So my father grew up with severe depression. And when my father had his 3 kids, me and my 2 siblings, he really wasn't present as a father as a result of his depression. And my mother, she was also she grew up in Ottawa in Canada, and she was raised by a very abusive father and a mother who was not present in her life at all as a result of the fact that she was carrying a lot of guilt knowing that her husband was abusing the children. So she dissociated from her daughters, which is really tragic. So my mother had no relationship with her mother and an abusive relationship with her father. So both of my parents were suffering from extreme mental health issues. And they decided to get married and have 3 kids, never broaching the subject or getting help. So you can imagine what a great childhood I had.
Yeah.
So my mother was really hard on me. She, I want to say, my hair is as long as Rapunzel's hair because I spent a lot of time locked in my room as a child. It's good to have an escape route. So she was incredibly hard on me and was quite not, I don't want to ever say that she was physically abusive, but definitely very psychologically and emotionally abusive. And my father not being present, I had a majorly dysfunctional relationship with my father. I loved him. He just wasn't present. And I was also raised in a very fundamentalist Christian religion that was very controlling and very much dictated my childhood to me. Who I was going to be, what I was going to become, who I was going to marry, what I was going to do with the rest of my life. And I didn't fit up to the standard of what this fundamentalist Christian religion kind of created and upheld us to. And it created deep self-loathing and insecurity within me as well. So coming out of my household, having to, really kind of like be strategic to create my own life, because my mother really tried to stop me from becoming really an independent, strong woman. If I really had followed what she had wanted for me at 43 years old, I'd still be living under her roof and she'd still be controlling every move I make. So I had to really fight for my own independence. And it really put me in a place where that self-worth being as low as it was, I actually didn't strive for what I, in my heart of hearts, truly wanted to do, which was work in the mental health space and support people. As a result of the trauma that my mother suffered, I actually ended up doing work with my mother to try to help her with her psychosis, to try to get my mother back, because the psychosis she suffered as a result of the trauma she went through actually incapacitated her as a mother. And so I thought that like 11, 12-year-old Harmony could like help my mother process her trauma so I could get my mom back, which is, I just don't even know what I was thinking. Obviously, I wasn't armed to help her at all. So going out into the world with this awareness of severe mental health issues and how it incapacitates you created that desire to want to do more. And yet my self-worth was so low that I didn't actually believe that a university would accept me. I didn't believe that I could get a student loan to get the money because I didn't grow up in a wealthy family that could just put me through school. So I didn't strive for it. And I actually ended up becoming a skin therapist because that felt attainable. So while I was in that arena, I actually ended up realizing that a lot of the people that were coming to get these different things done were actually deeply self-loathing and insecure themselves, and they were trying to fix it externally. So I ended up bathing in the same environment that I had internally, which was self-loathing and insecure. It was all around me. So I was like, okay, I definitely want to do something to help these people, because not only am I struggling with this, but they are as well. I was terrified, however, to take a risk. I was a single mother. I had a 13-year-old at home, and my insecurity paralyzed me. So the universe showed up to grant my wish. And on October 18th, 2012, I was heading home. I called my son and I said, I'll be there in 7 minutes. That was my commute. It was a very short drive, and I didn't make it home because I was in a massive 4-car accident. And I ended up getting hit by a car going 60 kilometers an hour behind me and being forced into the vehicle in front of me. And then that vehicle forced into the vehicle in front of them. So it was a 4-car pileup, basically. And it was so incapacitating that I ended up with a severe concussion. My hips were shifted in every direction. My spine was messed up. I had to quit my job. And having no support, I had to somehow figure out how to keep a roof over my babies and my heads. And I ended up having to get incredibly creative. And that was where I actually showed myself what I was capable of. Because in and amongst the challenges, the struggles, and the injuries, I found a way to provide for my son and I. And for the first time in my life, I showed myself that I had more strength and capacity that I even knew that I had. And when I came essentially out of the physical end of it, so this was about a year and a half of me struggling and taking care of my angel, and my whole life completely changing. I woke up one day after creating a new relationship, creating a new business, my sister leaving her husband and me coming in and taking care of her and getting a bigger house to take care of my sister and her 2 children. I ended up looking and realizing that my whole life needed a whole makeover, basically. It was so incredible to have that aha moment, knowing that that car accident had happened for a reason. I just didn't know what the reason was. And the reason was that every aspect of my life needed to be changed. So then once I realized that and put the puzzle pieces together, it was shortly thereafter that my partner and I actually got a phone call. And both of us got separate phone calls, me telling me that my father had actually ended up in the hospital because he had tried to end his life. My father ended up in a facility being looked after. And when he was in that facility, I ended up having a conversation with him that then ripped me out of the faith that I had been believing in for all of my life as well. So not only was I now dealing with the fact that I had to help my father, but there were things that then created an identity crisis, an existential crisis within me. And then I had to fly to Toronto because my partner had also gotten a phone call that his father had been diagnosed with liver cancer and was in the hospital in Toronto. So both of our fathers ended up in the hospital at the same time. I don't even think you can make this stuff up. Like, we were just like, what is going on? Right?
Yeah.
So we flew to Toronto, and seeing Scott's father hooked up to all of the machines and my father almost ending his life, making an attempt, it really made me realize just how fragile life is. And I realized that I needed to walk a path to heal. I needed to step into my power. I needed to figure out how to become and do what I wanted to do my whole life. You know what I mean? Because anything could come along and take life from you. And so I started to walk the path to do that healing work for myself. And I found that the traditional model that really is prevalent, I want to say, in North America. I'm not going to say in the rest of the world, but definitely in North America. And I want to say Europe, which is going and seeing a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a counselor, something to that effect. wasn't actually what I truly needed to find resolution, because I was having an existential crisis. I needed spiritual support. And so it was actually going on this journey to discover who I was, to redefine myself, that I ended up discovering a meditation group. And in this meditation group, I ended up talking to and working with this woman who actually was a clinical hypnotherapist. And she was the one who actually taught me how to tap into the most powerful, pivotal part of the mind that we typically don't have access to, but controls pretty much most of us, which is the subconscious mind. And when I became aware of that aspect of myself, where that power was, and that I could use that to shift my reality and to heal and to release the trauma and the programs and everything that was creating that fear and paralyzing me, I not only wanted to learn it and use it to heal, but I wanted to become it. And so I ended up training and becoming a clinical hypnotherapist. And as I was working with clients and doing my education, I had a really, really pivotal experience with a young woman that I had in hypnosis. And while she was in state, I experienced trauma that she had, but it was in my body that I was feeling it. And the feeling of that trauma that I was feeling, that was hers and not mine, was so overwhelming and powerful. It brought me to tears. And I didn't know how to help her. I didn't know how to engage. And that was when I actually ended up certifying in pranic healing, which was developed by Master Chow Kok Sui, and he is Filipino and Chinese. A beautiful, beautiful man who brought a beautiful healing modality to the world and beautiful teachings. And that was what actually taught me how to observe, but also how to engage with the energy. So I'm incredibly grateful for that man who stepped up and played outside of the box to carve a path for somebody like me who was looking to engage, to learn something to help me on my spiritual path. And then I ended up discovering Dr. Bradley Nelson, who was a chiropractor, and he actually uses kinesiological testing to find trapped emotions and release them. So he's using a little bit more of a tangible modality. And I found that to be incredibly exciting, because people that generally don't gear towards the spiritual but are curious, when you play with a modality that actually has a tangible element to it, it's almost like a bridge that allows for the people that are more logic minded to actually come over and play with something tangible to hold on to. So at the root of all of the work that I do truly is pranic healing, clinical hypnotherapy, and Dr. Bradley Nelson's emotion code body code. And I utilize those trainings as a launching pad to create what now is my own programs and teachings and intellectual property. And I've been doing the work on my own with my clients, supporting my clients, creating a life in service of themselves, learning how to speak the language of the mind and body for almost a decade now. And I'm so incredibly grateful for the predecessors, the people who came before me to carve their own paths, so that when I was looking for the answers, I had something to look to and to learn, to use as a launching pad to then create my own baby and my own teachings to help people.
That is beautiful. What a story. Oh my God. Thank you so much. I'm feeling so emotional right now, and I feel like, I could be in your story, because I personally, I struggle with depression in the past. So I totally understand how it felt like to be depressed, to be suicidal, to want to take your own life, to not want to live. And I think you mentioned as well, your bio or your website, in your darkest moment, you felt like, you felt guilty as a mom, and hopeless and lost and paralyzed by fear. I think it was after the accident, right? It was after accident that you had your darkest moment, and you
Yeah.
really didn't know what to do next. That's what you said. So I
Yeah.
wonder, what did you do in that moment when you didn't know what to do next? What did you do?
It's so beautiful that you say that, because I know that there's so many people that might be in that moment right now that are struggling and don't know how to see the light of day and don't know how to continue on. And for any of you who are listening to this, if you're in that moment, I want you to know that I've been there and I empathize. And the biggest thing that I would actually tell you is to know that there is a purpose for your pain. And what is so important to actually be doing is be asking yourself, what purpose is this? What do I need to learn? What awareness is it that needs to be created? Because we all, each and every one of us on this planet, has a divine purpose, has a greater purpose. And all of the pain and trials and tribulation that we experience in our life does contribute to the awareness that actually drives us towards that greater purpose. And when I was experiencing that pain, those dark moments and not knowing what to do, I knew that there was a reason. And I just kept asking, how is this happening for me? How is this happening for me? And the other big thing is to be patient. I know it's really hard because we want the answers to come to us right now. We want resolution. We want to feel good right now, because the pain, well, in all reality, it sucks. Let's be real. Let's high five over the fact that the refining fires suck. I totally honor that, right?
Yeah.
It's not fun.
Yes.
But if you understand that it has a greater purpose and that it's creating awareness for you to do something amazing, and you can allow for the lessons to unfold in perfect timing, which in all reality is not your timing, it's the universe's timing. The lessons will come to you because you are asking the universe for those answers. So, from the time that I had my car accident until I had the aha moment, it was about 2.5 years, right? I had to lose all of my friends, lose my job, lose my ability to provide for my angel. I had to figure out how to keep a roof over my heads. I was single at the time, so I ended up creating a new relationship that I'm incredibly grateful for. My sister left her husband and I provided for her and her children. I had to move into a new home. I started a new business. I gathered new friends. There was so many things that happened in this span of time that created the aha moment that was, oh, I needed a whole life makeover. So if you can be patient and just know that there is a divine purpose for this, that there is a greater path, and that you are destined for something beautiful, that can actually help you to create peace of mind in the refining fire.
Mm. No, I understand why. Because earlier you mentioned something that I really love, because you talk about when things are happening, are going against you, you ask the universe, how is this happening to me? Whereas, I know a lot of people, or most people, they are in victim mentality, they fell into victimhood. They will ask, why is this happening to me? Like, why me? Why this? Why that? Right? But for you, you ask how. And I think that is the defining factor that lead to a better question.
Yeah. Yeah. I ask, the big thing that we want to be really clear on is that everything is happening for us, not to us. And that's the big thing, is that if we can understand that everyone we meet, every situation that we experience, there is growth and expansion and awareness that is created, then we can always be focusing on learning the lessons. In fact, I have been blessed to call on, and I mean, when I call on, it means energetically. Clients that I've been able to work with from all walks of life. I worked with a client from Vietnam. I worked with a client from Zimbabwe. I worked with a client from India. I worked with a client from the UK, from the States, from all around the world. There's been many different cultures. I had a client from Paris. So when I work with these people from these different cultures, every single time I approach this person, I have an open mind because we're having a meeting of the minds from different cultures. And what I can learn in supporting my client expanding their own reality is just as vast and great and important as what they learn walking my path that I've created with love for them, right? So I think that's the big thing, is approaching life, no matter who it is that you're meeting, no matter what the situation is, whether it's a meeting that's beautiful and wonderful like ours, or a refining fire that sucks, if we're always looking for the learning lessons to help better ourselves, I think we're always going to be a step ahead.
And so when did you realize there is a greater purpose, like there is a divine purpose for everyone to exist? Like, how did you come to that realization? And how, as everyone, as human being, how do we discover our divine purpose? I know you mentioned about timing, you mentioned about aha moment and a life totally, a complete life makeover. But is there a way for us to discover our divine purpose?
Yes, absolutely. And it's a part of my program. So when I was working with a healer myself, he walked me through a path to go back to visit myself, my divine self, before I was born, literally walked me backwards. And when I got to that state, I saw myself signing a contract to be love on this earth. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, what is that supposed to mean? I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this, but I realized that I had chosen my path, which was really powerful because a lot of people believe that their path, their destiny, whatever it is they're meant to do is handed to them by something greater than them. And I realized that I'm a divine being and I chose my path. I created that contract and I signed it. Nobody created it for me. They didn't create it and hand it to me and then I agreed to it. I created it. And that was a really powerful aha moment for me. And then I needed to ask myself, okay, how do I be love on this earth? What does that even look like? And so I meditated and I got the message, you need to flood the earth with love. And I was like, oh, perfect. That's so much more clear. Are you kidding me? How do I flood the earth with love? Okay, I'll just get some water and I don't even know how to deal with this. So I'm like, okay. So I meditated some more.
I know that feeling.
And I got a message that I needed to pull universal love and raise my own vibration. And I needed to meditate 5 minutes a day and pull universal love to be love, right? And then it was like, what's next, right? And so this has been the path. I got the message when I revisited myself, but in each step along the way, and this is now 8 years later, where I am right now is just from being in meditation, talking to the universe, asking, okay, universe, what's the next step to flood the earth with love? You know what I mean? And I get inspiration and I go. I don't ever hesitate. I just feel the inspiration and I go because I know what I am meant to do. So what I do for my clients is exactly that. I take them on that journey backwards through their lives. And I actually have them stop at different points throughout their lives because we know that consciously we can only remember so far back, right? I can remember as young as 4 years old from a conscious standpoint. However, I've gone back to actually experience the womb and I remember the womb and I remember what I was thinking and programs that were created when I was in the womb, right? So if you go into the past, in the theta brainwave, in that particular state, you can actually access the subconscious mind, which stores and houses all the information from the whole history of your being, not just the history of your life, your being, your soul, right? So I take my clients back to that state where they're able to revisit different points so they can collect information and remember things and be in that state that they were in when they were a baby, when they were in the womb, and then take them back to that divine state that they were in before they were born. And everyone sees something different, experiences something different. But what is singular and the same with every single person is they all chose their destiny. They all decided what they were going to do. And I did this out of curiosity because I'm like, I wonder, like, I chose my path. I wonder if everybody else did too. Let's just see what happens, right?
Yeah.
And it turns out every single person that I've done this with chose their own path. And when they come out of state, they all have a new awareness and they're like, oh my God, I know why I'm here. I know what I'm here to learn. And it now becomes their driver in life. It is so incredibly powerful when you can visit that and it's not me telling you, because there are people who you can go and see and you can pay money to, and they'll tell you about your past lives. They'll tell you about your divine purpose. It will not create the same passion and drive without you going and doing it yourself. When you access that information, now it is anchored in your soul and it will drive you in a way that nothing else does. And then really when it comes to it, you just follow the path of going into meditation and talking to the universe and asking, okay, what's step number one? What's step number two? One day at a time, just step towards it every single day. And this is what you should be doing for the rest of your life. This is my plan.
I love that. I'm going to meditation later. I'm going to
Nice.
going to meditate later. So is meditation the only way for us to talk to the universe, or are there other ways as well for us to communicate with the universe or our own divine being?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not here to definitely dictate that there's one way to do things. We're divine beings and we can do whatever we want, whatever we believe that we're capable of. In fact, Henry Ford said, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. Right? And I really love that quote so much because I see people limiting themselves as a result of believing that they're only capable of so much. And yet when I awaken them to the fact that they're capable of so much more, they step into that, right? They just kind of need somebody paving the way. So the way that I teach my clients to self-communicate, communicate with the universe, communicate with their divine self, is actually through kinesiological testing. So it is muscle testing, right? And I teach them multiple different methods, and then they pick the method that is right for them. And then I teach them all of the different ways that they can utilize that to test the vibration of food to see if it's good for them or not, the vibration of the art they're surrounding themselves by, the vibration of the music they're listening to, the vibration of the people they're surrounding themselves by. You can also use it to communicate with the all you can eat buffet that is spirituality, that is the whole universe. You can use it to communicate with the 12-year-old self, the 3-year-old self, the 5-year-old self, your divine self. You can also talk to aspects of self. So your creative self, your logical self, right? So in all reality, it is limitless when you tap into this ability to be able to communicate, and is just what your brain can conceive of as to how far you want to take it.
Mm. Wow, that is so deep. A lot of stuff that you talk about, I have not heard before. So yeah, this is like totally new, something totally so new and so interesting. So I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier, that you talk about when you're working with clients in the, I know, like skin therapy. But you mentioned about them getting facials, getting like treatments, right? Getting all these like self care routines, but they never felt good. Although they thought it would make them, look better on the outside, it would make them feel good on the inside, but it never did. So can you talk to us about that? Like, why is that?
Yeah, I totally hear what you're saying. And I do very much believe in dressing in ways that make you feel confident and make you feel sexy. When you put something on that makes you feel beautiful, it does raise your confidence. There's no two ways about that. You strut differently when you walk out the door wearing pajamas than you do wearing a really nice dress. You know what I mean? It does alter your posture. And, for those of you who are women, when you put on nice makeup, it makes you feel beautiful. And when you wear beautiful, sexy lingerie under your clothes, it makes you feel sexy and it makes you feel more confident. So I am not here for a moment to undervalue pampering yourself, taking care of yourself, and dressing up that beautiful goddess that you are, because you're a gift to everybody. So girl, put a bow on it. Absolutely. Okay? I am all for it. I am a fashionista. I am a diva in my own right. I love all of it. Okay? I got the sparkles and everything. So I love all of that. The thing that's really interesting, though, is if we put the onus on the external factors to develop self love, it doesn't work, because anything external is fleeting. When somebody compliments us, let's look at that for a second. When somebody tells you that you're beautiful, if you do not believe that you're beautiful, you're not going to
Yeah.
receive it. People can tell you you're beautiful all day long and you won't receive it because you don't believe it. So any outward compliments or anything that anyone does for you, if your belief system isn't in alignment with it, it's not going to have any permanence. It's not going to stick. And when you think about the word compliment, it is meant to actually be a compliment to you knowing you're already a powerful, beautiful, divine being. It's not meant to complete you,
Mm.
right? And most people don't think about the meaning of the word compliment. So when you develop a beautiful relationship with yourself, when you deep dive on the brilliance of your own mind and how beautiful and multifaceted you are, and all of the amazing things that you have to contribute, and you ultimately come to the realization that you are love, You don't need external love. You're a divine being. You are love. And when you own that, and when you connect with universal love, then you are internally filled. And you can then allow that love to overflow and allow those around you to partake in it. And then any love, anything that comes into your life to contribute to you is a compliment instead of something that is fleeting. And when somebody comes to you and says, you're beautiful, you're going to be like, hell yeah, I am. I mean, thank you.
Yeah.
Right? So develop that beautiful self-loving relationship with yourself and go get your nails done because I totally support it all.
Yeah. But the sequence has to be love yourself first, right? Develop that loving
Self-love
relationship.
first.
Yeah, and then go get everything, your hair, your nails, your skin done.
Exactly.
Yeah, so but how, you see, now we know how to get our nails done, but we don't know how to love ourselves. So can you talk to us about like, I don't know, like how do we exactly do that? Because it's so vague, right? Love yourself, self-love, but how do we do that? I'm a very logical person, that's why I need to know.
um, when it comes to developing self-love, there is no overnight pill. There's no quick hack. I did develop something that does utilize the principles of hypnotherapy that can support you developing and reprogramming your mind for self-love, utilizing a journaling process, which is my self-love journal. So you would journal every night before you go to sleep, bypassing the critical mind and reprogramming the mind for self-love. And what you're doing is you're actually writing things that you love about yourself, writing gratitude for the day and what happened for you, and listing things that you love about yourself. There's all sorts, there's like 5 different things that essentially you would go through, that you would walk through. And then at the end of the day, you're going to actually rate your self-love on a scale of 1 to 10. And you go through this process. And at the end of every week, you would check in to see how your self-love is developing and how your week went. And what's really interesting is as you go through the month, you'll find yourself actually rating your self-love going up a little bit higher, right? So this is a great way to reprogram the mind. That being said, that's just the power of suggestion and what you're telling yourself every night supporting you. The trauma that you experienced, the trials, the tribulations that you experienced, the programs that are not serving you, the negative internal dialogue that is causing the depression, the anxiety, the struggles, paralyzing you from investing in yourself. That is what you need somebody like me to do a deep dive on with you. Okay. I systematically take you through a process that allows for you to be able to not only release all of the emotion and anything that is associated with childhood experiences that you have that needs to be released, but to really truly access those programs that need to be flipped so that you can really systematically go through and learn how to release what is no longer serving you and start developing that self-loving relationship with yourself. And I want you to understand that because you are a powerful divine being, accessing and developing an awareness of the fullness of everything that you are as a divine being is going to take the rest of your life to expand on. It's going to take the rest of your life because you are that amazing. You are that powerful. You are that multifaceted. It's my goal to walk through walls, and I haven't been able to do that yet. So when I get there, I'll let you know. But I know that my body is changing the molecular structure of things every time I eat, right? The food that's being put in my mouth is turning into hair, nails, skin, organs, tissue, ligaments, bones. How is my body doing that? If it's able to change the molecular structure of food to turn it into life-giving molecules, then why can't I walk through walls like right now? I don't understand. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I know that I am capable of so much more than what I am doing. So I'm going to spend the rest of my life expanding on that capacity. The other thing that's really important to understand as well is that you change. You and I both know that we don't look the way we did when we were 5. We don't look the way that we did when we were 17. And we're going to keep aging and changing, right? So we need to keep recommitting to ourselves as we shift and change because we keep doing so. So I can love myself in this moment right now at 43, and I'm in incredible shape and I work out really hard and I look really great. but I might not look that good at 55. I don't know what's going to happen. So I'm going to need to keep recommitting to myself as I change.
Okay, because I think is your name really like Harmony? Is that really your real name?
It's my real
I
name I
love
was
that
born with. Yeah.
because you also talk about creating a harmonious relationship with your mind and your body, and I was like wondering maybe that is just your branding name. I thought so. Yeah. So how do we talk about aging? You talk about that. How do we create a harmonious relationship with our mind and our body? How do we create an inner peace within ourselves for the fact that everything is changing and we are changing, constantly changing?
The most important thing to learn how to do, and I realize that everyone that I've ever worked with actually does not listen to their internal dialogue. In fact, so many people are running such negative self-talk and negative programming that they dissociate, because what do we get taught to do but dissociate from our negative emotions and programs and just stuff it down and function, right? You just need to get to work and you just need to do what you're told, right?
Yeah.
And put on a happy face. Well, that dissociative behavior is actually disconnecting you from your internal dialogue and creating that harmonious relationship with your mind. So it's actually time for you to start listening to that. And I want you to understand that when I'm asking you to listen to your internal dialogue, I'm not going to leave you in the pit of misery and sadness and self-talk lost, because I know that there are a lot of people that feel like their mind is working against them and it's not a place they want to be because what's going on in there isn't fun. And I respect that, okay? When you can write all of that down and get clear on it, and it is an exercise that I have my clients walk through called internal dialogue. They go through a process for a month and they listen to their internal dialogue at a particular subject for a week. And then they move to another subject. So they're going to listen to their internal dialogue around just how they talk to themselves about themselves. Then the next week is going to be, how are you talking to yourself about your career and your business? What are you telling yourself when you're driving to work? What are you telling yourself when you're at work? What are you telling yourself about your coworkers? What are you telling yourself when you're at lunch, either with people or sitting alone? What are you telling yourself when you drive home or you're sitting at home in the evening? When you can look at specific topics and hone in on all those things that you're saying, you can get clarity on really what it is that's going on and what's slowing you down. And start to create that beautiful open communication. And then in working with me, you can learn how to then take those programs and the internal dialogue that's not serving you, that's negative, that's holding you back, and flip it on its head and turn it into an internal dialogue that is serving you, that is loving you, that is nurturing you, that is driving you forward, that is supporting you, right? So I give you that as a job to do, as a task to do, because I'm going to teach you how to flip it so that you can change that internal dialogue to one that is serving you, that looks like a beautiful, peaceful Garden of Eden that you want to go hang out in all day long, right? And
Yeah.
when you learn how to do that, it completely changes that internal ecosystem and puts you in a place where you want to be with your mind, because it's a beautiful place to be. And you know that when you access a negative program that's not serving you, you have the power and the ability to take it and flip it. So you're not lost in this adversarial relationship with the mind anymore. Now, the relationship with the body is another thing. It has its own language. The mind and the body have languages. The body's language is pain. And what do we do when we feel pain? We pop pills and ignore it, right? That is a systematic thing. Now, I want to honor that in Asian cultures, with Asian medicine and stuff, they are predominantly more respectful of plant medicine and use plant medicine significantly more than they do in North America, right? North American culture is predominantly more focused on popping a pill and forgetting it. And if I go to Chinatown here in Vancouver, where I live, there are more plants and things in bottles than I even understand. It blows my freaking mind, right? So I have so much respect for cultures that are older and that hold those traditions of using plant medicine to support them. That being said, when your body is calling to you for some reason, if there is pain, instead of finding something to shut it up, listen to it. Hone in and ask where that pain is coming from. And everybody's going to go, Harmony, how do I talk to my body when it's in pain? Okay. This is where the kinesiological testing to communicate with the body comes in. So when you learn how to use kinesiological methods to actually communicate with the body when there is pain, you can engage and you can talk to the body and find out what the purpose is for the pain, because there is a purpose. You can heal and you can release what it is that is creating the vibration in that part of the body that's creating the pain, because the majority of the time there is emotion or trauma or something of the like that is actually associated with that part of the body that's experiencing pain. It has a purpose. So all you have to do is engage with it and do the work to release it. And this is what I support my clients doing, right? So this is how you go about creating a harmonious relationship with the mind and body, understanding that they have a language, and to stop and honor them and listen to them and engage with them, because you are worth listening to. You are worth engaging in. And when you ignore yourself, when you shut it down, you're telling yourself you have no worth. That is such a horrible message. Show yourself you have worth by listening to yourself and engaging with yourself. When you do that, it will actually raise your level of self-love, because you are engaging and listening to yourself when you're crying out for love and support.
Wow, wow, wow. I love, love, love that. I'm taking you all in right now, It's a message that everyone needs to hear. Thank you so much for sharing it. I believe a lot of people are struggling, are suffering, and they do not have the answers, or they are seeking for answers, and they don't know. They have all these questions that needed to be answered, and they don't have a place to go. So thank you so much for being here, and I really appreciate you for sharing your stories, for being a light, for sharing your love, for flooding the earth with love. Oh my god! And that is really powerful. So before we move on, is there anything that you really want to share or really want to talk about? Perhaps I didn't ask you or didn't let you.
I just want to be really clear that when it comes to the ability to expand, there is one thing that you need to do more than anything else, and that is say yes to you. That's what I'm asking for everyone who's listening to this. Say yes to you. Stop being other people's performing monkey. If you are serving somebody else's agenda, you will be left empty and sad and miserable. Meeting somebody else's agenda and being other people's performing monkey is not the answer to inner peace and happiness. It is not. I've been there, I've done that, and it left me feeling self-loathing, insecure, and empty. It wasn't until I found my divine purpose, I said yes to me, and I did the work to invest in myself, to get to know myself, to develop a loving relationship with myself, that I developed the self-worth that I have to be where I am right now, yelling on the rooftops my message. I'm here with a megaphone with confidence, screaming my message for everyone to hear, because I know my worth. I know that my soul's purpose is powerful, and I know that I need to serve this purpose. This world needs love so much right now, so much right now.
Yes.
And we need many love warriors, and I am one of them.
Mm.
So say yes to you. Do the work to find out what your divine purpose is, what your agenda is. Fill that beautiful, beautiful, powerful soul of yours with love from the universe. Get in alignment with the fact that you are love and you don't need love from an external source to be fulfilled. All of the money flowing into your bank account, the material possessions that you're going to collect are not going to bring the inner peace and the fulfillment that you are seeking. The only way to make that happen is to say yes to you, to invest in you, to find out who you are from a divine perspective, not you in this human existence. You're not an accountant. You're not a lawyer. You're not a doctor. You're not those things. That is what you're doing in this human existence. What you are is a powerful divine being. Step into alignment with that, and it will alter your state and allow for you to be able to step into with ease whatever it is you're inspired to do. that thing that's going to make your soul sing every time you wake up to go and do it. Because that is my life. My soul sings every time I serve a client and see them thrive. And I get to do that every day. And I feel so blessed. And that happened because I said yes to me and I did the work to step into alignment with my soul's purpose.
That is a perfect answer. I mean, oh, I wasn't expecting it, you know. This is so powerful. And I know I mentioned like we are moving on to the final, but I had a question because I'm assuming that some people they are listening to this, they'll be like, okay, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I might be an accountant right now. And but Harmony, you know, I know what if I discover my life purpose? I still need to bring food to the on the table. I still need to survive. I still need to feed my, you know, children. I still, all these responsibilities. How can I just let's say discover my life purpose and then do I quit my job? You know, what does it mean?
No, not at all. So my evolution into where I am today was a path, right? So I had a business previously that was a hangover from my aesthetics career. I was doing eyelash extensions. That was
Mm.
what allowed me to keep a roof over mine and my son's heads. And it became a full-time, almost 10 to 12 hour a day, 5 days a week business. I was doing incredibly well at that. And that was what helped to pay the bills while I was learning how to become a clinical hypnotherapist, while I was learning my energy healing modalities, while I was doing the education, while I was practicing, and while I was developing my teachings, right? So it wasn't until I got to a place where I was able to step into what it is that I'm doing in my business full time that I retired my other business. So don't think that just because you discover what it is that your divine purpose is that you're all of a sudden going to go abandon ship and
Yeah,
you're just going to give up everything and then be like, this is what I have to do. I don't care about keeping a roof over my head or food or you guys figure it out. I'm going to go do
exactly.
this. Definitely don't abandon ship, okay? I have had a client who actually did do that, but she was in a position where she was actually able to move in with a girlfriend and be supported while she was doing what she did. So walk a path that is right for you. Okay. So if this is something that you're just going to start taking some courses in and stuff like that, and then you're going to start doing it part time, or if it's something that maybe you have a big dream of developing a nonprofit to help people in impoverished countries to be able to get access to water or housing or food or something like that, you can still keep doing the job that you do and develop the nonprofit on the side doing this, right? It doesn't mean you have to give up what you're doing for a living. For me, my soul's purpose is my business. And I stepped into that over a period of time. So honor whatever path it is that looks right for you and take the amount of time that you need to step into that. And don't expect it to happen overnight because it didn't happen overnight for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the problem with many people nowadays, especially with social media, with the access to social media, is that everyone wants overnight success, right? We want things quick. You know, we are constantly looking for instant gratification, right? We want things quick. We just need to ask Google, and then 1 second later, we get our answer. So it doesn't work like this, right? With success, with love, with
No.
inner peace, with everything. Yeah, with discovering your purpose.
Yeah. It was an 8-year journey from the time that, I mean, if you think about it, 2012 was the car accident that shut me
Mm,
down. But I started doing the healing work in 2015. So we're talking about an almost 8-year journey to get to where I am now, having a successful business, working with clients, having a full program with my own intellectual property and a spreadsheet because I have so much intellectual property that's color coded because it's out of control, and becoming a best-selling author and all of that. This took time, right? And just daily inspiration and saying yes to that inspiration and doing the work. I am taking a step every single day towards flooding the earth with love. And that really, in all reality, is all that matters to me.
mm, beautiful. What a beautiful work that you are doing. Thank you so much for being the love, being the light. And now we always end our show with final five rapid fire questions. So every question has to
Nice.
be answered in either one word or one sentence maximum. All right?
Okay.
That is the rule. Okay. First question. What is one thing you wish you knew earlier?
There is nothing. It's perfect the way it is.
Wow. Second question. I think I kind of know the answer. If you could live your life all over again, what would you do differently?
Nothing.
Exactly. Okay. Third question. What is something you're trying to learn or curious about right now?
You know what's really beautiful is sound healing. I've been recently called to learn sound healing.
Ah,
My name is Harmony. It makes sense I'd go that path.
yes, the time is right. Divine timing. If you had 5 minutes and the whole world was listening to you, what would you say?
Oh man. I think what I would say was what I said earlier. That beautiful speech about say yes to you. I mean, really. I mean, I don't know if there's anything more empowering than those words right there.
Yes, preach it. That is that. Go for it. And the last question is, what brings you joy?
Serving my clients, teaching people to create beautiful, unconditionally loving relationships with themselves, seeing that happen in each soul that I get to serve makes my soul sing.
Love that. Beautiful. Thank you so much again for taking your time out today. I'm sure a lot of people they want to work with you or get to know you or get access to your program. So where is the best place for people to find out the information or connect with
If
you?
you want to learn more about me, you can go to harmonywoodington.com. You can also look me up on social media. I'll make sure that you've got the links for that. And you can also book a free soul connection with me if you have a story that you want to share with me, struggles that you're going through, and you want to know how I can serve you. And just so you know, I have services that are spanning across the board at all different price ranges to meet people where they're at. So please don't be fearful if you're in a space where you're like, I don't know, she's probably really expensive. Just show up, book the call, say yes to you, and we will figure it out together. This is all I need is for you to say yes to you and be willing to do the work.
Love that. Love that. All right, guys. I hope you love this episode. Go follow Harmony. Go to her website. Book a session with her. Get a book. Connect with her and check out all the amazing things that she is doing. She is doing amazing. I am sure. I will put all her links in the show note below as well. If you want to learn more about what I do, you can go to my website, joyanchan.com, and follow me on Instagram as well at joyan.chan. And tell me and Harmony what inspire you what inspire you most in this episode. And I will always leave you the same way as I leave you every other episode. Show up. The world needs you and you need you. Say yes to you. Thanks for listening today, and I wish you a joyful and amazing day ahead. Thanks again to our sponsor, Get the Law of Attraction. Follow them on Instagram for daily spiritual enrichment and encouragement, especially if your spiritual ice cream cone is melting a bit. You will get a fresh scoop of your favorite flavor of spiritual encouragement and insights. Find Joy with Joyan listeners will get $25 off when you go to their website and use promo code Joyan, Joyan, when you sign up for their Law of Attraction course and gratitude journal. Once again, that is Joyan, Joyan, for $25 off, and their links are in the show note below. Thank you again for tuning to Find Joy with Joyan podcast. If you love and enjoy today's episode, you can help support this podcast in one of three ways. 1. Take a screenshot of this episode and share it on your IG story and tag me at joyan.chan so I can repost and connect with you. 2. Share this podcast with a friend or family member. And 3. Leave a positive review on Apple Podcasts so we continue to grow and reach more listeners worldwide. And make sure you also subscribe so you don't miss out on any episode coming Wednesday. And my joyful friends, until next time, keep showing up. Success doesn't show up for you until you show up and pursue your own success. Again, thanks for being here, and I will see you soon in the next episode.